So that's why we're doing what we're doing and where we are right now. So to give you a sense of the history of the company and where we're going, because it's even more exciting, I'm going to turn it over to my husband and our CEO, Carl Dietrich.
So thanks. As Anna said, it really is a privilege to be here addressing all of you because in a large part we are here. We are a product of this educational system that we've got here, and it's really a thrill to be addressing all of you today. I'm going to start by just giving a little bit of background of how we got going down this path. As Anna mentioned, I met Anna and Sam, Dr. Samuel Schweiert, now co-founders of Terrafugia, in graduate school at MIT in the Department of Aeronautics and Astronautics. And I'd been a pilot since high school and kind of had this intuitive understanding of what the issues are in general aviation today. But really, it hadn't made a lot of sense for us to invest, for us to go out on a limb, to try something new. It's a relatively old industry. It's very well established in the market. But something happened back in 2004. The FAA actually changed the way they certify light aircraft. And they created a new type of pilot's license, which takes half the time and half the money to get. So they created the conditions for innovation and entrepreneurship. And that opened a door for new entrants to try out new things. And we looked at this opportunity and we said, well, what could we do that has the potential to have a significant impact on this industry and that it's unlikely that the big guys are going to try? And that's what kind of got us going down this path. MIT has a fantastic network that helps inspire and encourage entrepreneurship and risk-taking. And we entered into the MIT 100K business plan competition in 2006, competing against 164 other business plans coming out of MIT that year. And that year we were the runner-up, as judged by a panel of 27 venture capitalists and former entrepreneurs. And that came with a $10,000 check. And earlier that year, I had won the Lemelson MIT Student Prize, which also came with some money. So we took our $40,000 then, and we took our fledgling concept, which really at that point was not much more than some computer graphics and a wind tunnel model. It was about this big. That's pretty much all we had. We took that concept to the biggest air show in all of general aviation. And at that show, we met the people who would become our first customers and our first investors. We left that show with 7 checks in hand from people who were willing to write us a $7,400 check just to hold a place in line to buy a vehicle they had never seen before, they had never touched, that was just a concept. To us, that was a real validation. It took us another 5 months or so to pull together our first round of external investment. Picture on the lower right there is actually at the close of our first financing in December of 2006. And we started working on the highest risk components of the vehicle, that folding wing that you saw. That's Sam and I in the upper left building a first generation prototype folding wing, which we then took to the big air show the next year. We were able to show some progress, some risk reduction. We were able to get more investment in the door, build the order backlog a little bit more, and we went back and we started building what we call our proof of concept vehicle, which is our first prototype. The picture in the lower left are some early parts of that first generation prototype. I should say all this was going on basically in a small 3,800 square foot garage on the south side of Woburn. So we went back to Oshkosh in 2008 with the shell of a vehicle that hadn't yet done anything yet, but it looked like a real car, real airplane. Came back from the show with more interest. We started having people being real excited about what we're doing now because we've got some full-scale hardware. They're actually able to visualize it, touch it, feel it, see it, believe that it actually could be real. And we had a Series A financing lined up to come together in October of 2008. As you know, October of 2008 was not a great month for the markets. And that deal fell through because earlier that week the markets dropped by about 30%, so all of our prospective investors were seeing their portfolio really tank. And fortunately, we had some real angel investors backing us who were willing to, in engineering speak, low-pass filter the economic crisis, and we wound up putting together a smaller deal at a lower valuation. It was enough to keep us going, and schedule was going to slip, things were going to change, but we could keep working on it and keep making progress towards bringing the first practical flying car to market. And sure enough, in March of 2009, the first flight of our first vehicle occurred, and that's the picture in the upper right-hand corner, taken from our Chase aircraft. So we learned a lot from that first generation vehicle, and we incorporated the lessons that we learned and the desired changes to a second generation prototype, which is what you saw in the video. That vehicle has now been flying and driving for the past year and a half, and the changes that we want to make from that one to a production model are much, much smaller in scale and scope. And what we've been able to do with this new one is really go out and test the waters outside of our core market. Our core market is the general aviation pilot. These are the people who already know what it takes to fly. They already feel the pain of not being able to fly as often as they would like, and this vehicle will let them keep their plane at home, drive when the weather is bad so they know they'll never get stuck anywhere. They know they can get home for dinner. It gives those pilots literally a new dimension of freedom. That's very exciting. We wanted to find out if this idea would be as exciting as we think it has the potential to be for people who are not pilots. So we went to the New York International Auto Show last year. And at the big aviation shows, we might come away with a couple dozen serious qualified customer leads. We went to the New York International Auto Show and came away with 250 qualified leads, people who could afford to buy this vehicle. And now the thing is, they don't know what's involved with becoming a pilot. So there's some big hurdles that they have to overcome in order to do that, but it's possible. And it's a lot easier today than it was 10 years ago because we have this new type of pilot's license. So that's very exciting, and it's showing the potential of this concept to get people more excited in building the industry from the ground up. And in fact, today, about half of our customers, people who have written checks to hold a place in line to buy a vehicle, are not current pilots. That's very exciting for us. Some signs of real fundamental market growth. So we still have a number of steps in front of us as we move this product to market. We have to go through automotive crash testing. We have to do misuse testing where you're driving it over cobblestone roads and speed bumps and making sure airbags don't deploy. And then after we make the design changes that I'm sure will come as a result of those tests, we have to do our final compliance flight testing. So this, to get the product to market, when all is said and done, will probably have taken about a decade. It's not a short-term thing to do something like this, but it's something that has incredible long-term potential for the overall economy. And one of the things that has happened since we founded the company 7 years ago is the FAA has continued to evolve the way that they will be regulating light aircraft. And they're adopting these new industry standards that are formed by international committees of people and companies like Terrafugia and other general aviation companies. And they're adopting those standards as a basis for certification. So what that means is that we can actually bring new technology to market faster. So that got us thinking, and we said, well, what if we didn't have to worry about regulatory requirements? What if we don't have to worry about the path to certification today? What if we have a path to write the standards that will be a viable basis for certification for future products today, and we design our product to certify to those new standards? What could we do just based on the laws of physics today if we say those are the only constraints we've got? We don't have to worry about the institutions that really were big drivers for our first product, the Transition. And we came up with this next generation concept, which is extremely exciting. We call this new concept the TFX. TFX is really the Jetsons. It's a vertical takeoff and landing flying car. It's a vehicle that can fold up its wings, still fit inside a single car garage, carry 4 people at a speed of over 200 miles per hour, drive on the road when the weather is too bad to fly, because you're still going to have realistic weather limitations. But it's something that, conceivably, if we had one of these things today, we could have flown it here from Woburn, and instead of taking an hour and 10 minutes to get here, it would have taken about 10 to 15 minutes, and we could have landed down here out in the parking lot. It's a very exciting idea, and something that the component technologies to do this are out there today. It's a huge system engineering challenge to bring them all together into one product. But the basics for this exist right now. And So what we want to do is share that vision with people and say, look, this is possible, and we can do this over the next decade. And that's what we intend to do.